Welcome to the Elementary Science Olympiad being held at Kennesaw State University. Here are a few things that will help coaches, new coaches especially, understand how the day is going to flow. When you arrive at Kennesaw State, you'll take I-75 and exit off of exit 271 Chastain Road. We'll be parking in the east parking deck of Kennesaw State University, pictured here on the slide. You'll see that parking's $10 per car. Please make sure that you have that money available because they will only take cash at the parking deck. So please let all your parents know they need to bring $10 to park at the park. When you exit the parking deck, on your right will be the Convocation Center. You'll keep walking straight ahead towards the campus green. Just follow the little orange foot. When you get to the campus green, you will not set up in the middle. We'll actually have it roped off, and that's because we're doing our water rockets shooting off there, providing that the weather holds out for us. You should see little tent stakes set up around the outside perimeter of where we're doing the water rockets, and they should have all the different school names. These will be in alphabet. All the teams will set up their tents, if you bring a tent or your chairs, and kind of make their little campsite for the day near where their school's little sign is. That's where we'll actually line up to get ready to do our opening ceremonies. I've got a couple of pictures that show you what some schools bring, like a tent like you'd bring to a softball tournament or to a baseball tournament over the weekend. And it's just the big tent. They set those up. They bring tables and they set up their food, and it just makes a kind of a base of operations. The students, if they're not competing, they come back here in between each event. And then the schools hang up their signs. It's just a great place to hang out and good. It's important to bring some things to do while you have some downtime. And right now it's looking like we have a 40% chance of rain on Saturday, so we're hoping that doesn't happen, but if we do have some rain, it will be nice to have some tents to get underneath. But people usually bring books. Sometimes they bring board games, or the kids bring their little video games or whatever else they like to play with, because there will be a little bit of downtime. In the event of rain, your students and you and your all your parents and everything may go inside the Convocation Center, or you may go inside the Student Center, which is at the end of the campus green. Either one of those buildings will be open that day, and they have a lot of... Here's our agenda for the day. If you look and see, you'll see that at 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock to 8:15, there'll be somebody coming around the campus green with a big megaphone, and they'll be telling everybody to line up. And what you need to do at that time, you need to get all of your students, just the students, not the parents, all of the students need to line up. If you've made a sign or a banner for your team, someone needs to be in the front holding that, and we're lining up and we're going to start walking towards opening ceremonies. This will be held in the Convocation Center. You'll need to direct your parents to go straight into the Convocation Center and find a seat. All the students will be sitting on the floor. Here's a picture of what it looks like as we're parading through. You'll see your team and all your students kind of walking through. They'll be holding their banners, and they'll all be kind of walking together. There will need to be someone at the door as we enter the Convocation Center to take your banner, because they can't bring the banners inside the building. There just isn't enough room as we walk down the hallway, nor is there any room on the floor of the Convocation Center for the banners. So we'll collect them at the doorway. If you want to have a parent or someone pick them up, that's great, or we'll leave them right there at the door and they'll be safe there. Once inside the Convocation Center, you see we fill it up pretty full. We'll have all of the students sitting on the court, if you will. The court's kind of covered up and it's set up from graduation. We'll try to keep the teams completely together. We do try to limit the number of parents sitting down there. We really just want it limited to just the coaches. I understand that some of you may have a lot of parent volunteers that have helped to coach, but if we could just have one or two coaches down there to kind of do crowd control and the rest sitting in the stands, that'll make sure that we have more kids that are able to sit actually on the floor. If we do run out of space, what we do is we end up taking students and we've roped off some sections of the bleachers, and at 9:15 we will dismiss from the Convocation Center. We'll be finished with our opening ceremonies, and we will dismiss the students back out, or we'll dismiss everyone at that time actually. You can go back to your base camp. That's what a lot of schools do, is they go back to their tent, they meet up there, and then they have their kids go to their first event at that. So let's say you have a student that's in Leaf and Tree Finder, and they're in that event for the very first session. So what they'll need to do is they'll need to leave the campus green, which is marked as D on the campus map, and they'll need to walk to B, Clendenin Building. To do that, they'll walk through the visitor parking lot and kind of up a little set of stairs over to the Clendenin building. There are 2 floors in the Clendenin building. So if it's in room on the 1000 level, that's the bottom floor of Clendenin. If it's the 2000 level, you'll need to find the stairs or the elevator and go up to the 2nd floor of Clendenin. If they're in C, the science building, it's actually attached to Clendenin. You'll just keep walking all the way through Clendenin and you'll be able to get to the science building. If you'll look, Building E, which is Kennesaw Hall, we do have some events there. It is right across from the Convocation Center. So your students all of these are around the D, the campus green area. So it's pretty easy for your students to navigate and get where they're trying to go. Oh, also on the map, when I mentioned earlier about if there was rain, that there was another building that you could go into, the Student Center. If you look on the map and you see where it has the D and then where it says D Campus Green written in a box, it's kind of over another building. That building where it says D Campus Green right behind there is the Student Center, that in the event of rain, your students could go inside and parents could go inside. There are restrooms there, and there's a large cafeteria area downstairs with tables that You've gotten information about t-shirts being for sale that day. We did send you an order form, and if you chose to, you could have pre-ordered and collected money so that all of your students get their ESO t-shirt. You didn't have to do that. It was totally optional. If you didn't do that, go ahead and let your students know that if they do want to buy one, they do need to get over there earlier in the day. We do tend to run out of smaller sizes. We do the best we can to forecast, but we never know what size the students are that are going to show up. Sometimes we have a lot of kids that need smalls, and sometimes we have a lot of kids that need larges. So we do the best we can to forecast, but we do tend to run out of some popular sizes sometimes. So you'll have the best selection if you go earlier in the day. And if you need the double extra larges, again, same thing. Sometimes we run out of those. When kids aren't competing, there are a couple of things that we have set up for them that they'll be able to do this year to kind of help with the downtime. And for some of your parents who've come that really don't have a lot to do while their kids are competing or while their kids aren't competing, or if they brought younger siblings with them, these are some things that you might suggest that they want to do during the day. They can always watch the water rockets launch, and that's always great fun to see that. They have a big megaphone out there and they're announcing when it's time for. We also have several demonstrations that'll be going on. We have a physics juggler who will be doing a show at 9:30 and at 10:30, and that's being done over in the science room 109. Then we have a lot of different vendors who are setting up tables and have events ready. We have Diamond Dells rock and mineral mining. And for a small fee, your kids can mine for rocks and minerals. I think it's like $9 a piece. Sparkles roller rink will be there. There'll be a Gabby bus, which is the Great American Bus Interactive Education. We'll be there and doing free tours, learning about Georgia agriculture. We have Ken Pansy, the reptile wrangler, wandering around with snakes, so you'll see some of those. We have the weather dude, Nick Waller. He is actually a personality from the Weather Channel who'll be here, and he does a lot of meteorologist weather standards and kind of fun. And it's kind of neat to see somebody who's on TV. We have some other groups set up about learning camps and things that are going on. Those include the SPSU, the Southern Poly group. Cobb Parks and Recreation will be there talking about their summer camps. The Chattahoochee Nature Center talking about their summer camps. And then we have Fisher Science that's going to be there. The Georgia. So after the final session is over, we will have all the teams gather back into the Convocation Center. We do the best we can to try to have the teams sit where they sat this morning. We know that's kind of like herding cats, so just do the best you can to try to guide your kids so that they're in the same general vicinity where they were this morning or in the morning. And then what we're doing is we will start doing, they'll have a science show with the Big Thinkers. The Big Thinkers will be in there, and they do a really engaging, fun science show. They bring kids up out of the audience. It's a good time. While that's going on, what we're doing is we're doing the final score calculations. So all the event supervisors are bringing their scores to us. We're tallying them up, and we're determining all the different places for each event. We will call the students up to the stage during the awards ceremony, and we will give out first, second, and third place medals for each of the events. We also have ribbons for 4th through 10th place. So each school will have an envelope, and if your school has earned 4th through 10th place in any of the events, you'll have ribbons in your envelopes that you can give out to those students after the awards ceremony. Those will be available where we did the t-shirts in the morning, where all the coaches signed in, right there in the Convocation Center. Immediately following the medals ceremony, we will give out the trophies for first, second, and third place teams overall at the Science Olympiad. After that, we are finished for the day and you are free to leave. We do ask that you please police your camp area or where you had all your tents and try to pick up as much of your trash as possible and kind of put it near the trash can or in the trash can. And the same thing around your seats where you're sitting. If you will please kind of clean up that area as well, we get to stay behind